Podcasts on unctv.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNCTV.
On Harker's Island, east of Beaufort, the Coresound Waterfowl Museum and Heritage Center pays tribute not only to the area's coastal culture, but also to the hard work of hundreds of dedicated volunteers. These loyal supporters help bring the facility into existence, and they've taken an important page from the region's history to help keep it operating. Bob Garner has more.
An oyster roast is an essential part of the Down East culture. What more appropriate way to celebrate more than 27,000 hours volunteers donated last year to the Coresound Waterfowl Museum and Heritage Center on Harker's Island? There wouldn't be a museum without these people, and many like them. The museum grew from the forming of the Decoy Carvers Guild in 1987 and the first of its annual decoy festivals the following year. Locals felt the area's waterfowl heritage needed a more permanent preservation effort, and the mission expanded to include the larger story of Coresound: communities, craftsmen, traditions, and resources.
As we've been building this museum, people kept asking us, are you a history museum? Are you a science museum? Are you an art museum? We're all of that, because you cannot separate the culture. The culture is based in this place, in these resources.
Construction took more than 7 years, beginning in 2002, and the resulting facility mainly tells the story of boat building and fishing.
To work the water, you got to have a boat, and people here work the water to live first, and then to make a living. And Harker's Island has always been synonymous with boat building. It's been our claim to fame, just like commercial fishing was to Atlantic, and decoy carving was to Stacy, and hunting guides on Davis.
The Coresound Museum also memorializes the vanished industry of fishing for the tiny menhaden and the early days when men hauled the nets by hand, singing shanties to help them work in unison. Their songs are now kept alive by a group formed to preserve and perform them.
And you could hear them on a dead slick cam day, and you could see the boats out there past the channel, and you could hear it echo across the water. Nothing like it, nothing like it. And I didn't pay any attention to it then, because, you know, it was going to always be there. Didn't understand what it meant. It's not just the voices, but what it means.
Within easy sight of the Cape Lookout Lighthouse, best seen as part of the panoramic view from the tower, the Museum and Heritage Center summons strong loyalty from volunteers like Connie Mason, for whom it tells a personal story.
My father was from Stacy, North Carolina, and he was a commercial fisherman when he grew up. And my grandfather before him, and my grandmother would take a Sharpie, a sailboat, across Nelson's Bay to Tyne Taylor's oyster house and shuck oysters.
So along with many public and private grants and a capital campaign, how has this graceful but remote facility at the water's edge stayed healthy in the face of hurricanes, a suffering local economy, and an overall economic downturn? Well, one of the richest local traditions and resources has provided a means of raising money.
Crab dip and scallops wrapped in bacon, because food is key, and it might not be healthy food for the body, but it's been healthy for the soul, I could say.
And pretty healthy for the museum's support. During the annual Decoy Festival weekend, people line up to buy and sample traditional Down East treats the museum volunteers have made their own, like the local scallop fritters, or sweet puppies, hush puppy-like fried apple fritters dusted with powdered sugar and served with homemade ice cream. Why the Boy Scouts have to turn out to help direct the traffic.
Well, the sweet puppies were an accident. It was something Fosse had come up with that we did at home, and we had a thing at our house one night, and Karen Amsbacher was there and took a taste and said, we can make money on these. So everything else is history. We've been doing it for probably 10 years now.
And there's also a semi-annual Taste of Coresound event, a chance to sample a panoply of Down East traditional dishes.
Seafood, shrimp stew, which is to die for. Collards, the desserts, of course. The scallop fritters, of course, fish stew, you name it. If they make it down here, we have it. The fig cakes, which are a specialty on the island, and the local duck.
This might be my favorite museum in America. And I'm in a lot of museums as a historian. And one of the things I like about it is the way they use food to draw people in, to celebrate community, and to show off a heritage. I've had dishes here that you won't have anywhere else in the United States. And you have to go back to 18th century cookbooks.
Things have changed dramatically since children walked to school along the beach and when boat building and commercial fishing managed to keep the Core Sound area healthy. With some locals simply hanging on, second homeowners from elsewhere have fallen in love with the place and have stepped up to stand shoulder to shoulder with natives, not only to stimulate the local economy, but to help preserve the area's story in the Core Sound Waterfowl Museum and Heritage Center. Contributors and cooks are always welcome. For North Carolina Weekend, I'm Bob Garner.
The winter edition of Taste of Core Sound is coming up Thursday evening, February 23rd, and Bob Garner will be the speaker for the event. Call 252-728-1500 for information and reservations.
Podcasts on unctv.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC TV.